Caitlin Clark's return to WNBA action wasn't just another game. It was a historic moment that will be talked about for years. Facing off against the legendary Diana Taurasi and the Phoenix Mercury, Clark didn't just play. She delivered a performance for the ages, with a stunning 29 points, 10 assists, and 5 rebounds. She not only led her team to a decisive victory, but also shook up the entire league. This wasn't just a rookie making waves. This was a player redefining what it means to dominate in the WNBA. Her performance has now shifted the narrative in the Rookie of the Year race and could very well impact the playoff standings. What unfolded on the court wasn't just remarkable, it was legendary. And if you think that's the whole story, think again. This game had more twists, drama, and unexpected moments than anyone could have predicted. The return of the WNBA after the Olympic break was already cause for great anticipation. But when it was announced that Caitlin Clark would be going head-to-head against Diana Taurasi, the hype reached stratospheric levels. On one side, we had the rookie sensation who had revolutionized college basketball and was now making waves in the WNBA. On the other, the living legend and icon of women's basketball. But this wasn't just about an individual duel. The Indiana Fever were in a desperate race for the playoffs, while Taurasi's Phoenix Mercury were fighting to maintain their position. Every game in this final stretch of the season is crucial, and this matchup had the potential to change the course for both teams. The competition for Rookie of the Year between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese adds another layer of intensity to the WNBA season. Every game, every stat line, and every highlight reel is dissected and compared as these two rising stars battle for the prestigious title. Clark, fully aware of the stakes, knew that her performance against a team led by a legend like Diana Taurasi could be pivotal in this race. The anticipation was palpable as fans, analysts, and players alike waited to see if Clark could rise to the occasion and deliver a performance that would solidify her case for Rookie of the Year. The stage was set, the stakes were high, and the atmosphere was electric. No one could predict exactly what was going to happen, but everyone knew they were about to witness something extraordinary. This showdown was more than just a game, it was a defining moment in the WNBA's narrative for the scene. A moment where future legends began to cement their legacies. From the opening tip, the Indiana Fever made their intentions clear. They were here to dominate. Their performance was nothing short of spectacular as they surged to a commanding 33-16 lead in the first quarter. Caitlin Clark was the standout star of the period, delivering an electrifying performance with 16 points, 5 assists, and 4 rebounds. Her presence on the court was undeniable, as she showcased her scoring prowess and playmaking skills with remarkable ease. But Clark's brilliance was complemented by the equally impressive Kelsey Mitchell. The synergy between Clark and Mitchell was palpable. As they seamlessly connected on the court, their chemistry was so strong that it felt as if they had been playing together for years. Despite it being early in the season, Mitchell's ability to complement Clark's style of play added an extra dimension to the Fever's offense, making their performance even more formidable. The dominance continued into the second quarter, as the Fever opened up a 28-point lead, leaving the Mercury completely stunned. The defense was solid, the offense was flowing, and it looked like we were watching a Fever shooting drill. Meanwhile, Diana Taurasi and the Mercury seemed to have no answers. The legendary player was clearly frustrated with the situation, as the halftime score read a convincing 54-37 in favor of the Fever. Coach Christie's side seemed to have found the perfect formula. The game plan was working to perfection, with Clark orchestrating the offense and the defense suffocating the Mercury's main weapons. At that moment, it looked like the Fever were on their way to an easy and dominant victory. But as we know, basketball is a game of runs, and what was about to come in the second half would catch many by surprise. The Mercury didn't get to where they are by being a team that gives up easily. The third quarter started, and suddenly, it felt like we were watching a completely different game. The Mercury started chipping away at the Fever's lead, and alarmingly, the comfortable 28-point advantage began to melt like ice in the Arizona sun. Coach Christie's side suddenly found herself facing a tactical nightmare. What had worked perfectly before now seemed to be falling apart. The defense that had been impenetrable in the first half now had more holes, and the fluid offense turned into a series of lost possessions and forced shots. The Mercury won the third quarter 28-9, cutting the difference to just 8 points. The pressure was mounting, and you could see the frustration on the faces of the Fever players. Kelsey Mitchell was even involved in a heated discussion, showing that the tension was reaching critical levels. Sides tried everything: timeouts, rotation changes, defensive adjustments, but it seemed like nothing was working. The momentum had completely shifted, and the specter of a humiliating defeat after such a promising start began to haunt the Fever. This was the moment when Side's experience as a coach would be put to the test. How was she going to regroup her team? How was she going to contain the Mercury's advance, led by Taurasi? And more importantly, how was she going to use her main weapons, Clark and Mitchell, to secure the win? The fourth quarter was approaching, and it was clear that this game would be decided in the final minutes. Sides knew that her decisions in the next moments could define not just the outcome of the game, but potentially the fate of the Fever season. When all seemed lost, when the momentum was totally in favor of the Mercury, that's when Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell decided to show. They're considered one of the most dangerous duos in the WNBA. In the fourth quarter, Clark and Mitchell took total control of the game. Clark, showing maturity far beyond her years, began to dictate the pace. She alternated between distributing precise assists and hitting shots that drove the crowd crazy. But the real star of the final quarter was Kelsey Mitchell. She simply caught fire, hitting to three-pointers that were absolutely crucial. Clark and Mitchell demonstrated an exceptional level of on-court chemistry that was evident throughout the game. Their intuitive understanding of each other's movements made it seem like they were always in sync. When the Mercury shifted their defensive focus to contain Clark, Mitchell found herself open for clean shots. Conversely, when the Mercury doubled down on Mitchell, Clark adeptly maneuvered to exploit the newfound spaces, creating opportunities for herself and her teammates. This seamless interaction between Clark and Mitchell highlighted why the Indiana Fever are such a formidable team. It's not merely about Clark's individual brilliance, it's the dynamic synergy between her and Mitchell that makes them so difficult to defend against. Their ability to complement each other's play and exploit defensive mismatches underscores the Fever's offensive prowess and strategic depth. In the end, the 98-89 score for the Fever doesn't tell the whole story. It doesn't show how the game was on a nice edge, how the Mercury came dangerously close to completing a historic comeback. But it shows that when the pressure is highest, Clark and Mitchell are ready to respond. This Fever victory over the Mercury wasn't just another game in the regular season. No, this was one of those moments that can define a team's destiny. With this result, the Fever took a giant step towards the playoffs, something few believed possible at the start of the season. Let's put it in perspective. The Fever now have a 12-15 record, occupying the 7th position in the overall standings, with only a few games left in the regular season. Every win is golden, and beating a direct competitor like the Mercury is even more valuable. Moreover, the triumph injected a massive dose of confidence into the team. Beating a Diana Taurasi-led team, especially after nearly blowing a 28-point lead, shows that the Fever have the resilience necessary to survive in the playoffs. For Caitlin Clark, this victory solidifies her status as one of the most impactful players in the league. She's not just accumulating impressive statistics, she's literally carrying her team to the playoffs in her rookie season. That's something we rarely see from a rookie. The road is still long and difficult. The Fever will have to maintain this level of play to secure their playoff spot. But with Clark and Mitchell leading the way, and with victories like this on their resume, the Fever are showing they have all the tools to be one of the surprises of this postseason. One thing is certain, no team will want to face this Fever in the playoffs. With the combination of young talent and determination they showed in this game, the sky's the limit for this team. And if there was still any doubt about who's the favorite for the WNBA Rookie of the Year award, Caitlin Clark just silenced all critics with this epic performance. Let's face it, the Rookie of the Year race between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese has been incredibly close all season. However, Clark's performance in this game may have shifted the momentum decisively in her favor. Here's a closer look at why this game was so significant. Clark delivered a standout performance with 29 points, 10 assists, and 5 rebounds. This wasn't just a great game. It was a historic achievement for any player, especially a rookie. By recording multiple games with at least 25 points and 10 assists, Clark set a new benchmark as the first rookie in WNBA history to accomplish this feat. Her ability to score, facilitate, and rebound in such a dominant fashion underscores her impact on the court. In contrast, Angel Reese faced a tougher challenge in her recent game against the St. Phoenix Mercury team. Despite her potential, Reese and the Chicago Sky were convincingly defeated, and she struggled to make a significant impact. While Clark excelled against a seasoned team led by Diana Taurasi, Reese couldn't replicate that level of influence. Clark's historic performance and her ability to shine in high-stakes games could prove to be a decisive factor. In the Rookie of the Year race, her impact on both the game and the league continues to be profound, setting a high bar for her competition. It's not just about numbers. Though Clark's numbers are impressive, it's about impact on the game. Clark isn't just accumulating stats. She's literally carrying her team to the playoffs. She's doing this against the best players in the world in high-pressure moments. Moreover, Clark's versatility is unmatched. She's not just a prolific scorer. She's an elite point guard capable of creating for her teammates, while keeping opposing defenses on constant alert with her shooting ability. Of course, the season isn't over yet, and Reese will definitely have her chances to shine. But as it stands, it's hard to see anyone other than Clark taking home the Rookie of the Year award. She's not just excelling, she's rewriting the rulebook for what a rookie can achieve in the WNBA. If she keeps up this stellar performance and leads the Fever into the playoffs, the award will be hers for the taking. Given what we've seen, it's hard to bet against her. Stay tuned and follow us for more exciting updates and in-depth analysis as the season progresses.